What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the La Liga Career Mode. It's episode number 6, returns to a brand new season as our second year at Mestalla gets underway, where our budget for season 2 will be 74 million, about what I was expecting. So we left 26 million in the budget from last season, and we're going to get 8 million for the sale of Dmitrievski as well. So that would actually, it might be 80 million in total, and that I would say is realistic and fair. Yep, so as I simulate a day in the calendar, and with Dmitrievski's deal going through, that should again raise, there we go, 81 mil, which I would say is fair. I would say is fair for a Valencia team, which again, we're not where we want to be. We're not bringing the glory days back just yet, but this is still quite a big club in Spanish and European football, to be fair. And obviously, as we know, this is a team which had 28 mil remaining in the budget last season. So when you consider that plus the 8 million, that's again 36 million going to 80, so that would be about a starting budget around 50 million. That's fair, I would say. It's about exactly the same we had for the start of season 1. But no doubt about it, this team desperately needs improving for the new year. There's some good young talent, but it's still what you call a ham-fisted team, really. Yeah, we lost Mamadashvili, who has, of course, gone back to Liverpool from his loan spell. So we're going to need to sign a new goalkeeper. We've got contract issues as well, including for a couple of star players, such as Christian Mosquera, that, of course, definitely needs to get given a new deal as well, and Correa too. But yeah, it's a team that does still need a lot of improving for season 2. Last year, of course, we survived with a few games to go as Kelvin retained his potential to be special. That's fantastic news. And also Zoo has got it too after his loan spell last season. But we know for this year, I said at the back end of last season, where are we improving? Well, we'll need to replace Mamadashvili if we can't bring him back. And I'm going to need a new striker. We really like Joaquin. He had a decent debut season for us, but he does need a partner after Hugo Giroud only got the 2 goals last season. So wow, look at this, loads of players that deals coming at the end of the year. Wow, loads to sort out here. So to begin with, the big 2, I'll give new contracts to Correa and Christian Mosquera as well. They're definitely going to get new deals. But to be honest here, for the rest of them, I mean, I'm not actually sure. You know, I like Guillamon, I like Perez, I don't mind Rioja, but to be honest, I might go for a clear out for season 2, gut the team, and lay down a completely new foundation. Mosquera and Correa can stay, but as for the others, I think they're all going to go. And if you look at Liverpool's situation right now, I actually think now Mamadashvili will probably be rated as high as Alisson, if not even higher. So with that being the case, Kelleher, as we know, is, you know, basically decided he's going to spend his entire career as Liverpool's backup goalkeeper. I think we should keep Mamadashvili at Liverpool. We've helped him develop into a world-class goalkeeper. He is the successor for Alisson. Everyone knows that. I say keep him at Liverpool, don't bring him back. I think that's more realistic. And speaking of Premier League goalkeepers, Chelsea have 8 goalkeepers now. I wanted to take a look at this, but they've signed Gregor Kobel, a world-class goalkeeper, to add to the collection they've got. And with that being the case, I'm going to go after one of the 2 Spaniards, Kepa and Sanchez. Sanchez last season was loaned to Getafe in the save, and Kepa was, of course, last year on loan at Bournemouth. So with that being the case, neither of them are going to be Maresca's first choice this season with Cabell there. And I'm going to go after Robert Sanchez, 27 years old, 80 overall. He's come under fire a little bit this season with Chelsea. Maresca not rating him in the save either, loaning him out last year. But as a replacement for Mamadashvili, he'll do a decent job. And he's only 27 and should be able to get him for valuation too. I never used him. I'm bringing him in. Robert Sanchez is the very definition of the word eccentric. Chelsea fans will tell you this. He's got a mistake in him. Everyone knows that. But on his day, he can be an elite shot stopper. But the question is, what kind of Sanchez are you going to get when the ball is kicked off? Are you going to get a Sanchez who makes save after save and shuts the team out? Or are you going to get a Sanchez that drops a couple of clangers and costs you points? Well, I guess we'll see. But the Sanchez we've got is an 80 rated goalkeeper, just 27 years old. So still has time to improve and get even better. And for a mid-table side like ours, we don't need a world-class goalkeeper. We just need someone who's good enough to fill in during our transitional years. So coming in for just £13 million on a 5-year, 50 grand a week deal. Welcome to the Mestalla, Robert Sanchez. Yeah, he'll do. He'll do the job. It's a cheap transfer fee in a modern game. 80 rated, more than good enough to be our starting goalkeeper in the transitional years. This is a pretty smart pickup in my opinion. I'll take it. Yeah, I don't think Sanchez is going to be a world-class goalkeeper now in his mid to late 20s, but he's good enough, and that's the thing. We don't need a world-class one. We just need someone that's good enough, and Sanchez will be. So our budget now drops down to 64 mil. So there's still plenty of money to bring in. Again, a really top striker, and also maybe 1 or 2 squad players as well. And speaking of resurrecting careers, there's someone else I'm quite keen on, and I wouldn't mind him joining Sanchez too, because as a teenager, he looked like one of the best young players in world football, a true wonder kid out of the La Masia Academy, who seemed as though the world was going to be his for the taking in a few years. In the end, he just never really kicked on, and now seems as though he'll be leaving Barcelona not before long. And I think that's what he needs as well. I think it's what he needs. He had a loan spell at Brighton, but that didn't work out either. I think he needs a clean break from Barcelona and to go elsewhere. Ansu, the door out of Mestalla is open. Yep, Ansu Fati needs to resurrect his career before it's too late. I'm giving him a golden chance here at Valencia. Let's bring him in. I feel quite sorry for Ansu Fati because all the expectations were put on his shoulders to be the next Lionel Messi, one of the greatest players of all time. At 16 years old, as a boy, imagine being told at 16, you are going to save our club on the back of one of the greatest players of all time departing. That is an enormous strain to put on a young kid. And whilst I get it, some players can handle that pressure. Look at Lamine Yamal, for example. That's the exception and not the norm. But you don't play as many games as you do at a top level for club and country as a teenager unless you've clearly got ability. I just think personally, he now needs to leave Barcelona permanently. In real life and in the save, that's what he's done here, coming in for £80 million on a 5-year, 50 grand a week deal. I've given him the escape route and he's taken his chance. Welcome to the Estadio Mestalla, Ansu Fati. Yeah, he's still got the ability, he's still got the potential, and again, he's only 22. He's still a kid now. I mean, that was 10 years ago for me. You don't realise it at that age, but you're still incredibly young as a 22-year-old. He'll need to improve his stamina. He'll need to get a little bit stronger, but the technical ability is there. The pace is there. He just needs to become consistent and know his role. I'm not giving up on him. He shouldn't give up on himself. Ansu Fati can still carve out a great career. So just sold a couple of players. Rioja, 31 years old, has gone to Marseille for 5.5 mil. In the final year of his contract, it's totally fine just to get his salary off the books and a little cash as well. And also Comer is one of our loan players that returned. Swiss centre-half, totally fine letting him go as he's off to Como. So our budget now rising to 52.5 mil. And I think I am going to go for a new striker as well. And I've got some really interesting names on the shortlist here as well, all of which would be really cool players to move for. I've used Brian Brobby at Ajax before, so I don't think I'm going to go after him this season. I try and sign players I've not used before or barely used before. I think Kolo Muani will be a really cool signing. Obviously, he's really struggled since joining PSG. Everyone remembers that World Cup final miss against Argentina, but he's had a great stint at Juve right now, out on loan. I wouldn't mind that, but I think with us being a mid-table side right now, we should go after someone with a little bit less ability. And to be fair, speaking of resurrecting careers, well, Fabio Silva, ever since he joined Wolves from Porto, never really looked like he was going to make the grade at Molineux, but he's had a couple of decent loan spells, and right now he's playing really well in Gran Canaria for Las Palmas. He's quick, he can jump, he's got good stamina and strength, and technically too, excellent ball control and dribbling as well. And at 22 years old, he's still got a long way to go, just like Ansu Fati, time to resurrect a career and bring him in. This is another one of those signings that you call reasonably low risk based on the transfer fee and the weekly wage, but potentially a high reward if the young player recaptures his promise and starts to kick on. And to be fair, whilst he hadn't made the grade at Wolves, he looked really good for Las Palmas this season in real life, and last season in the save scored quite a few goals as well. So back to La Liga, but now coming to the east of Spain, arriving on a 5-year, 40 grand a week deal. This might prove to be a bargain in the future if he kicks on. Welcome to the Estadio Mestalla, Fabio Silva. Yep, low transfer fee, reasonably low weekly wage, and like Ansu Fati, only 22 years old. So there is still a long way to go in this young man's career. And I love the stats as well because he's got the pace, he's got the hold-up play with the strength as well. And again, technically too, good ball control, good dribbling, and he can pass as well. Alongside Ferreras, that's what I'm looking for. Not just a finisher, but a creator as well. Fabio Silva can do that. Yeah, he's going to start alongside Ferreras when I have Hugo Giroud coming off the bench. Only 2 goals last season, but he's good enough to be a backup striker, I would say. But looking at the team now, we've got enough depth. I'm going to try and loan out Zoo again for another year. I think we're done. There's a bit of cash remaining in the budget, but I think we're done personally. And so, as we've agreed to loan out Kelvin Zhu to Espanyol for 2 years, we'll keep our eyes on him there at Barcelona and see if he can develop the way Chan is currently doing so. 1st of August, so let's send our 3 youth scouts out. And where are we sending them this year? Well, of course, one is going to be kept in Spain for the realism, looking for those homegrown talents on the east coast of Spain. And for this year, we went with a striker last year and found a good one in Ferreras. We do want a long-term goalkeeper, don't we? Robert Sanchez has come in for the transitional years. We do want someone for the future, so why not go for a goalkeeper? Looking for the next Iker Casillas, sweeper keeper. And let's see who we can find this year from Spain. Well, last season we went to Malta and Singapore. So let's not do Europe and Asia this season. Let's go to one of the other continents. Let's go to North America, North and Central America. And we've obviously done Canada, USA and Mexico quite a few times in my careers. Let's do one of the new nations for this year. And there's a few really cool ones, but actually I think Nicaragua would be a really, really cool nation to scout. Because they do speak Spanish there. So any player we get will know the language already. And it's a new nation for FC25 as well. And I want to try the new nations this year. So let's go to Nicaragua. And let's look for a... I don't like having to specify positions now. I want to cast the widest net. Let's go for a CM. Let's go for a CM, CDM, or CAM right through the middle and see what we can find this year. And yeah, I don't like this. For all the changes that EA have made for this year, this is one thing I don't like. I love how many new nations there are to scout. Give massive, massive, massive props to EA for that. It was something we were all crying out for a long time. But having to specify positions and player roles, I'm not a fan of that. Anyway, 3rd scout. So that leaves South America, Oceania, and Africa as well. And to be fair, if we are looking for players that will speak Spanish as their mother tongue, well, a lot of the South American countries are Spanish speakers. And whilst there's only 3 new ones for FC25, and I've used them all, I don't think I've ever scouted Venezuela before. They've been a scoutable nation for a while, but I don't think I've ever scouted them before. I know I've scouted all of these guys, but I'm not sure I've ever scouted Venezuela. And if I have, I've never had anyone of note come through my academy. So let's go with Venezuela. Not a new nation to scout, but I don't think I've used them before. Do a 9-month mission here. And let's look for a... what did we go with? We went for fullback with Malta, didn't we? Striker from Spain. I don't think I've looked for a centre-half yet. Let's go for a centre-half from Malta. A centre-half from Venezuela, sorry. And see what we can find this season. So we'll do Venezuela. We'll do Nicaragua. And Spain as well, and see what we can find. And as I've just extended the contract of Hugo's Euro by an extra year, he had a release clause of like £25 million. That is market valuation, so that means if nothing else now, he'll be able to stay and not leave for a reasonably cheap deal. Our board objectives this season, by the way, reached last 6 in the Copa del Rey. We did that last year, can definitely do that again, but also qualify for a European competition. Now that's not Europa League, that's anything. That could also be Conference League as well. And to me personally, I think we're good enough to do that. My aim this season is a top 10 finish in La Liga. Anything short of that and we fail. But I don't see why we can't finish top 7. If we are going to do that, we need to get off to a better start this season than last year. And also score a lot more goals. Our first game of the season is going to be Getafe away in Madrid, where our 3 new signings will all make their debuts. Fabio Silva up top, Ansu Fati behind, and Robert Sanchez between the sticks. First game of the year away in Madrid. Vamos Valencia. I think we're more than good enough to be a top 10 team this year, but we have to score more. That's the key. I have no doubt that, even though we haven't really improved that much, we are going to take the next step this year with the youngsters developing, but we can't stumble out the blocks like we did last year. A goal down inside the first 8 minutes. Not quite the start we wanted. I need to get Fati further forward. I mean, he's got tremendous pace. He's found Ferreras, and it should be the leveller, and it's not. Good save to keep it at 1-0. I think personally, Fati should be starting up top. I think if I put him right up top alongside Ferreras, with the pace he's got, we'll get more out of him there. Still down by 1. As Silva's shot is blocked, and Getafe will clear. Can we find a leveller late? Same old story for Valencia, creating chances, not finishing them. I said I was going to spend most of my budget on a striker this year. I bought in Fabio Silva. I should have tried to say to Kolo Muani, listen, we're not where we want to be yet, but we can be with your goals up top. That is a whimper of an opening day loss. Can't have another season like last year. I think Fati would probably be better served as a striker, in my opinion. With the pace he's got, and we know he can finish as well. I think personally he'd do better. The problem is it will take him so long to become a striker because of the fact he's got incredibly low strength and his heading isn't very good either. So do I spend, you know, a year and a half trying to turn him into a striker, stunting his development, or just trusting that eventually he'll become a world-class CAM? That's the gamble. I guess we'll find out in time. But I'm not playing one game and ending on a 1-0 loss. I'm playing at least one more game. So following contest, we'll jump right into it. It's going to be one of the newly promoted sides, SD Eibar, away from home. And if we can't score and win in a game like this, then we've got very little chance of being a top 10 team, let alone a European club next season. Newly promoted Eibar away. Vamos, Valencia. Let's get our first goals and our first win here. I'm quite tempted to loan out Ferreras, but he was our top scorer last year, and that's the frustrating thing about career mode. It's like, you know, our top scorer at 17, then turned 18 during the year, yet he's had no overall upgrade. His potential remains the same. So it's like his growth is going to continue to be slow, and it's like, you know, we need better goal scorers now. So it's a difficult one, but yeah, it's something again I want EA to look into badly. You know, new season upgrades or potentially downgrades. They can do it for potential. So why not a player's overall as well? Chan, for example, remained the same overall despite a great breakout year last season. It makes no sense, and it's why, you know, you don't have to use the youth account if you don't want to. Year after year, your budgets normally get bigger. You can just sign players to replace them. Speak of the devil, Fabio Silva fired a blank on his debut. Not tonight. 13 minutes in, his first for Valencia. That's through that. That's an even better ball peg back as well. 1-1. Lovely little ball inside. Eibar with a leveller. Well, look, we're a team that are transitioning and we're a team in rebuild. We're not expecting to be in the Champions League in seasons 2 and 3, but we've got to do better than this. This is a newly promoted side we took the lead against. Couldn't hold on to it. And from our first 2 games, no wins and only 1 point taken for a possible 6. Valencia, we're better than this. This is mediocrity at best. And we're a big club. We've got to change this. But that'll do it for today's episode of the La Liga Career Mode, guys. Big fan of you watching. Hope you've enjoyed. If you have, then please do drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day. Honestly, this is a much bigger challenge than I expected, but we'll return in the next episode. We'll play the remainder of the transfer window. We're going to have to make a new signing with the money remaining because this is just not a good enough team, and we'll play more games in La Liga, looking for our first wins of the season. Have a great day, much love, and I'll see you for the next episode very soon.